Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar for companies looking to raise capital. I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of Towers Business Development. My apologies for the delay in getting started. We had a couple of technical issues. Pardon me. The Corporations Act indicates that companies cannot raise capital from the public unless they issue a prospectus. That's the normal process, and Section 708 grants an exemption to that rule. Private company is able to raise up to $2 million in a 12-month period from a maximum of 20 investors without having to issue a prospectus. There's a lot of benefits in this, but there are some disadvantages. There's no advertising or promotion allowed, whereas in the new style of company known as crowdsourced funding equity raising, which can raise up to $5 million in a 12-month period, a company, once it's accepted as being a crowdsourced funding equity raising company, can advertise and promote, so that people beyond friends and family and close associates, who normally are the group that are able to invest in Section 708 type capital raising, can invest in crowdsourced funding equity raising companies. Section 708 has been in the Corporations Act for 35 years, so it stood the test of time, and it's helped countless Australian small companies to be able to raise some capital from the public. But it's probably not as generous in its capital raising approach as what crowdsourced funding equity raising now is, and the new early stage innovation company status, which conveys some benefits for investors through taxation type benefits. So to raise capital as Section 708, the company will normally need a business plan, a budget and a cash flow forecast, and projected balance sheets looking at what's going to happen to this company over the next 3 to 5 years. It'll need a corporate chart, which identifies in one chart the team, the leadership team, the board of directors, and the other chart the types of businesses that the company's conducting. Details of intellectual property that are owned or any other properties that the company has access to. There needs to be a valuation of the company prepared, and some of this will be required to have a future projection so that future activities can be discounted back to present value as the basis for the preparation of the valuation. And then, of course, the investor's going to have to evaluate all that and decide whether they agree with the company's valuation, the company's approach to the valuation, which should be done as honestly as possible. Sure, in a projection, you're going to look at what you hope to achieve in the future, but it needs to be realistic forecasts. The main thing at this stage for a company normally is to be able to raise some capital to enable the company to actually create this future value. The original shareholders presumably do not have the wherewithal to contribute that capital, so you badly need the investors to come into the equation. Therefore, do not be too much Scrooge-like in dealing with your investors relative to percentages. Most investors are not interested in running the company or taking it over. They just want to make a passive investment, and they want you to do the work. So you need their money. You need to be realistic about the number of shares, the percentage of the shareholding that you are going to allocate to them. And that's what I've got there, to determine the number of shares to be issued. You need to issue share certificates to these new investors, and a return of allotment of shares needs to be lodged with the Australian Security and Investment Commission. One thing to bear in mind, though, when you're raising capital utilising Section 708 is that the private companies have a limit of only 50 shareholders. So if you raise some capital this year and next year and you had 20 investors in both times, you've basically just about reached the limit of your shareholding. And that is where crowdsourced funding is very popular, because crowdsourced funding, equity raising, can have as many shareholders as you wish, as the market wishes, I suppose. It's a better way of putting that. The team at Towers Business Development can help you to get ready to be able to raise capital in this manner, as Section 708 Corporations Act capital raising. I suspect you will need a business plan. You'll have to convince these investors, even though they might be your family or friends or relatives or golf club associates or whatever. It's common courtesy that you give them a business plan. You outline to them what your vision is and where you are wanting to take the company. And it's very important that you specify everything in that business plan, so that if someone has a dispute with you at some future date, the money got used in a different manner to what they thought it was going to be used, you need to make sure that the business plan has covered what in fact you did. Or put it another way, you check the business plan before you make decisions to spend some of the money, what might be considered outside the normal type of investment or activity for a company like yours. We can help you on the preparation of budgets and cash flow forecasts and projected balance sheets. These are essential components of the overall future forecasts. Investors are really not that interested in what's happened in the past. They want to know how you expect this company to trade in the future. We can assist in the coordination of the capital raising, getting all that documentation together to assist you in having discussions with potential investors. You may also need some upskilling on corporate governance type issues, especially if this group of investors are wanting to put another director on the board, and you may feel a little bit concerned as to whether your skills are up to scratch when it comes to corporate governance. We can help you in that. We run courses in corporate governance. We have conducted them for Oz Industry in various parts of Australia to make sure that company directors in small private companies are aware of their duties, obligations, powers, and relationship with the leadership team in their companies. So we can take you through that. So that's an overview of how Section 708 of the Corporation Act operates. If you're interested in having discussions with me relative to the assistance that we can offer in this form of capital raising, in crowdsourced funding, equity raising, or in early stage innovation company capital raising, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can send me an email, peter@biztools.com.au, or you could visit our website, www.towersbusiness.com.au. We have some upcoming webinars that you might be interested in. We're looking at corporate governance that I just spoke about on Thursday, the 5th of August. I think this is a very important webinar for anyone who is a director of a company or a company secretary if you're not quite sure of your obligations, your responsibilities, what you can do and what you can't do. So that's on Thursday, the 5th of August. Grants for business. There's a lot of grants out there at present from the federal and state and territory governments We're going to run through those on Wednesday, the 11th of August at 12 noon. So you can join us then. And business review meetings. I think one of the crucial things of running corporations is that you have a budget and a cash flow forecast and projected balance sheets produced. And then each month you have set of financial accounts prepared on each individual component of your business operations with key performance indicators. And that the leadership team and the external accountant, if you've got an external accountant, sits down and meets once a month and really drills down into these results, analyzes the figures so that everyone has got a good indication of how the business is traveling, where there's some problems, where there's issues like debtors days outstanding. Gee, it's 58 days. Well, it should be back around 35 days, I think. So what can be done about it? So the business review meeting webinar on the 18th of August is very important to give you an overview. And then we have planning funding for your business, 26th of August. That's when we're going to bring these 3 avenues of capital raising for private companies to the fore. Section 708 of the Corporations Act, crowdsource funding, equity raising, and early stage innovation companies. Because if you're a director or a senior leader in a company, you need to have an understanding of how these all fit together so that you can select the best one that suits your particular company's requirements. If you're needing to raise capital in the marketplace. So to register for any of these webinars, please go to our website, www.towersbusiness.com.au, and click on the webinars. And for more information on us, please go to our website or send me an email, peter@towersbusiness.com.au, or telephone me on 1-800-232-088. Thank you for being with us today. I've got no questions. I should have asked you that before, but I had a little look. If you've got any questions, please send me an email, peter@towersbusiness.com.au. If you're in one of the areas that's subject to lockdown at present, stay safe. And I hope that business conditions return to normal in the not too distant future. Have a great day. Goodbye.